Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there lived a carpenter and his children at the edge of the forest. His son was named Hansel, and his daughter was named Gretel. They were going through tough times as the carpenter's wife, the children's mother, had passed away. Being a very poor family, they sustained themselves with herbs and fruits collected from the forest. The children never complained, always striving to support their father. One day, a woman approached their door. "I come from the neighboring forest. My house was burnt in a forest fire, and I have nowhere to stay except for this bottle of milk and a cow. If I give you this bottle of milk and the cow, could I stay with you?" The father and the children gladly accepted the offer. At least now they had one more person to care for them, and a cow that could provide them with milk every day. After some time, their father married the woman. They thought they could live happily together, but their impoverished life continued. One night, as the children were going to bed, the husband and wife began to argue. Hansel, however, secretly listened to their conversation. "Look at us, we are so poor. How do we feed these children?" The father replied, "I am helpless too, I don't know what to do." The stepmother continued, "Actually, I have an idea that could make our lives a little better, but I don't know if you'll agree. Tomorrow, we tell the children that we're going to collect wood in the forest. Once we're there, we'll light a fire, give each of them a piece of bread, and then leave them there." "Absolutely not. I love my children. How could I abandon them?" The father replied, "Don't worry, they're grown now. They can take care of themselves. When our situation improves, we'll come back for them. If we don't do this, all four of us will starve." Hansel was an exceptionally clever child. When he overheard his stepmother's plan, he quietly left home to collect some small stones. His deceased mother had told him that on a brightly lit night with the moon, these small stones would guide them back home. The next morning, their stepmother woke the children. "Hansel, Gretel, wake up! We're going to the forest to gather wood." Hansel discreetly placed small stones in his pocket and, as they walked into the forest, dropped them along the path. When they paused to rest, their father and stepmother built a fire and placed bread nearby. Then the stepmother said, "Children, rest by the fire. Your father and I will go collect more wood. We'll be back soon." Their father was deeply saddened, but followed his wife back home. He looked back one last time at the children, silently promising, "When things get better, I will find my children back." The children watched as their stepmother and father walked away until they couldn't be seen anymore. Tired, they eventually fell asleep by the fire. When they woke up, it was late, and the bright moon illuminated their surroundings. "I'm so scared, brother. What should we do? Why hasn't father come back for us? What if they never return?" "Don't be afraid, Gretel. I left small stones along the path that glow in the moonlight. We can follow them back home." The children walked through the night, following the trail of stones, and finally arrived back at their own house. The stepmother, pretending to be angry, exclaimed upon opening the door, "Where have you been? We've been searching for you everywhere." The father joyfully embraced the children and said, "Thank goodness you're back. I've been crying all night with worry." However, their stepmother was not ready to give up easily. Her sole aim was to get rid of the children. So, when she asked how they found their way home, innocent Gretel honestly told her. That night, the stepmother locked Hansel and Gretel in their room, preventing Hansel from going out to collect pebbles. The next day, they went to the forest again. This time, without Hansel's pebbles, he dropped breadcrumbs from the bread in his pocket as they walked. Once again, using the same excuse, the father and stepmother left Hansel and Gretel in the forest, and the children found themselves waiting by the fire again. "I'm scared, Hansel. It's really dark. Let's go home." "Don't worry. I couldn't collect pebbles this time, but I left breadcrumbs along the path. We can follow them back home." But when they set off, Hansel couldn't find any breadcrumbs. Birds had eaten them all. Hansel, Hansel, where are the breadcrumbs? What do we do? I'm so cold. All right, Gretel, don't worry. Let's find somewhere warm first. We'll find our way home no matter what. Frightened and exhausted, they found a hollow tree to shelter in and fell asleep huddled together. In the morning, they wandered through the forest, lost and not knowing where to go. 2 days passed. Whichever path the children took, they couldn't find their way home. Eventually, they saw a bird on a branch. Hansel, look! Such a beautiful bird. It seems like it wants to tell us something. Should we follow it? Will it lead us the right way? It was a gorgeous bluebird. The children forgot how tired they were and began following the bird until it landed on a windowsill of a house. Wow, what a beautiful house! Let's go and see. Maybe we can find something to eat. Approaching the house, they were astounded. It was a beautiful house made entirely of chocolate, cake, and candy. Windows were made of cream, and the roof was adorned with colorful sweets. Famished, they began tearing bits of the house's decorations and nibbling away. Gretel, look at the chocolate on the walls. Delicious. The candies on the roof are tasty too. Try the doorbell. They filled their stomachs with cake, candy, cream, and chocolate. After a while, a beautiful lady carrying a basket entered the garden. Oh, it seems I have guests. Welcome. My bluebird just told me. I hurried over. Sorry for eating parts of your house without permission, but we were so hungry. We haven't eaten anything in 2 days, said Gretel. No worries. My house is special. The parts you ate will grow back immediately. Come inside. You must be cold. And if you have no home, you can stay with me. That night, Hansel and Gretel slept full of hope in comfortable beds. The next morning, they woke up to the morning sun, but as they opened their eyes, the once sweet-faced lady turned into an ugly witch. Hansel and Gretel screamed, trying to escape the room, but the witch caught Hansel and locked him in a cage, sealing the door shut. Then she threw Gretel into the kitchen. You foolish children! You fell for it! I made this candy house to lure homeless children like you. Both of you are too skinny. Gretel, go to the kitchen and make your brother and yourself some food that you both like. You two should eat more and get a bit fatter, so that when I eat you, I'll be more satisfied. These 2 children were very clever. To avoid gaining weight, they only ate enough to sustain themselves. When the witch wasn't paying attention, Gretel threw away the food from the plates, while Hansel hid food in his jacket and pants pockets. Gretel, come here. Let me see if you've gained weight, the witch said. The witch started by checking Gretel's weight. Why are you still so skinny? Do you think staying like this will help you escape from my grasp? The witch then grabbed Hansel from his jacket, and as she inspected him outside the iron bars, the food from his jacket and pants pockets fell out. The witch immediately realized what had happened. You thought you could fool me, huh? I've changed my mind. I won't wait for you to gain weight. Today, I'll put both of you in the oven and roast you. Let this be your punishment. The witch was extremely angry, thrashing around the house while complaining. It was then that Gretel realized that the witch was actually blind. She couldn't see. Pretending to cry in the kitchen, Gretel plotted her escape. Gretel, come over here. Look at the big oven in the kitchen. Tell me, is there enough firewood inside? The oven fire was strong, but Gretel deceived the witch. The fire is dying out, ma'am, Gretel said. Then quickly throw in more wood. The oven door is stuck. I can't open it. You useless girl. Look, it's so simple. The witch opened the oven door, and the heat from the burning wood hit her face. What's happening? You said there was no fire. As the witch reached out to figure out what was going on, Gretel took the opportunity to push the witch into the oven and locked the door. No, I'm burning! Help me! Help me! The witch's screams echoed all around. Gretel opened Hansel's cage, and the 2 siblings hugged each other tightly. My dear sister, well done! It's because of you that we've been saved. The 2 siblings prepared to leave the horrifying house. Gretel, let's see if we can find something useful before we leave. As they roamed around the house together, they stumbled upon a door that the witch had never allowed to be opened. When they opened it, they found a chest full of jewels. "Gretel, look! So many jewels! We won't have to worry about not having money to buy food anymore." Hansel and Gretel filled their pockets with the jewels and quickly left the house, venturing into the forest. This time, they were lucky to find the familiar path and eventually caught sight of their own home in the distance. "Dad, we're back!" Their father opened the door, joyously embracing his children. He was overjoyed. "Kids, I made a big mistake. Please forgive me. I shouldn't have left you in the forest. I deeply regretted it afterward and had a big fight with your stepmother, and I sent her away. I missed you so much, so much. We missed you too, Dad. We missed our home and our beds, but now we can forget everything and be together again." They took out the jewels from their pockets and handed them to their father. Their father looked at them in astonishment. "What are these?" "We're not poor anymore. We're rich now. Dad, we have so much to tell you. You have no idea what we've been through." That night, they sat by the fire and talked until dawn. The tough days were now in the past, and Hansel and Gretel lived a happy and peaceful life,